well, what will I, oh, hang on, I've got to go, got it, wait a minute, recording in progress, I've got it. And I thought, oh, will I do some slides? Will I do some educational things? And I thought, it's 30 minutes. What I just love to be able to give you in 30 minutes is some really actionable takeaways, a little bit of my journey growing up. Again, everyone's got a story, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but as a 16-year-old who left school in a council house in Glasgow to the journey of next week I go to Windsor Castle to get my MBE, I think explaining that will give you some tips. And, I know some people in the audience. I can see Kelly from the Solar Buddies. Hi, Kelly. And I'll talk about how Smash It came into play. And Smash It, the art of getting what you want, is actually based on my TEDx, which Kelly was at Port Talbot all those years ago. So at the end of my little 30 minutes in Q&A, I would just love to give you things that you can implement straight away. So that's my plan of action. No slides, a wee story, some helpful top tips, and then Q&A at the end. So if we have a little look at the journey, because obviously we're looking at Bernie's U-print and, success of women and women supporting women. I think it's really important that we look at why people don't hit goals. Why is not everybody smashing it? And when I was doing the research for the new book, actually only 8% of people are hitting their goals. So I had to go and think, not on my watch. What can I do to change that statistic? So I had to dig in. And actually, a lot of people don't set goals. So I'm sure it's not anybody in this audience, because if you've booked a ticket to Bernie's event, then, you're already on that path, you're taking action. But when we put this together, predominantly I'm a sales trainer, right? So we look at this journey and, I started the business off in 2014. And up until starting the business, I never really wanted to run a business. I just predominantly had worked in a job. I had a couple of kids. And it was only when I turned 46 that I'd been working in corporate. And one of the fundamentals for me, you can only sell something you believe in. And if you don't believe in yourself or you don't believe in your product, it's really hard to be able to convey that message. So a lot of people, say to me, oh yeah, but Alison, you must have had a leg up or a startup, or you must have known loads and loads of people to help you to get to where you are. I kid you not, 8 years ago, the only people in my address book were the mums from the school gates. So if I can do it, literally anybody can do it. But where the journey started was, obviously I'd written the first book, which is Secrets of Successful Sales. And I think, it's probably controversial, but I love sales. But a lot of the reason that I think entrepreneurs are not successful is because they don't love sales. They don't love themselves. They haven't got that confidence. And that's one of the things that, you need to really start to work on. If that is you, if that relates to you, then that's one of your takeaways, is to start to take some tips on how you can actually grow that confidence to be able to sell yourself. Because if nobody knows you are there, you can't help the people that you want to help. So the reason that I wrote the book, and again, about the same time that I met Kelly, it was via Enterprise Nation. And there's probably one of the only women I've ever met in my life that makes me feel like a sloth and a non-achiever is Emma Jones. But again, we talked about comparison, because comparison is the killer of dreams. But I think if you do look at other people and don't go, oh, they're really lucky, oh, I wish I could do that. If you actually think, and I think, like, for Bernie, I know that I'm Bernie's mentor. I know that Bernie looks at what I do and it inspires her. And again, every time I see Emma Jones, literally I'm like, oh, I love Emma Jones. What's she doing now? And take that energy from the people you surround yourself with. So I was running the sales training company. And what happened was, there used to be government funding in the UK to allow me to help people that had businesses around their, sales and customer service and stuff. But in 2015, the government pulled the funding. And I thought, well, how can I help the people that need me most, right? And I think that will be a theme for today, is actually the reason that you become successful is your desire to really help more people. And that's the purpose and why you push yourself further, because if you don't push yourself further, you can only help the people who are in your network. For me, that would have been the mums at school. And I don't know if they needed any help apart from drinking wine, to be fair. That was literally my strength at that time. I was really good at running the PTA and drinking wine, but I had to push myself further to do things. And I said, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to write Secrets of Successful Sales. And she said, all right, okay. So I tried everything to write this book and I was really struggling. But again, as a dyslexic, I then had to look at different ways of getting people to help me. And I think that's another takeaway from this talk is actually, hold on, my camera's just shrunk, I think, is to get people who can help you on that journey. You don't have to go on that journey alone. And that's why, again, coming to events like this is really important, because you're meeting like-minded people. So I wrote Secrets of Successful Sales. And as Bernie said, there was 2 fears that came with writing that book. The first fear, what happens if I write that book and nobody reads it? That's just a waste of my life. Like, I've written that book and nobody reads it. But the second fear was even worse. What happens if people read that book and they think it's rubbish? And again, Bernie knows, she's an author, she's got a publishing house. Actually, the people that talk about writing a book and the people who do write a book are in the minority, aren't they, Bernie? And a lot of that time is those 2 fears.
Definitely.
What happens if I write it and nobody reads it? What happens if I write it and it's rubbish? Who wants to hear from little old me? But it's that knowledge that your message is really powerful. So as Bernie said in the introduction, it all went a wee bit mad. The Independent voted it one of the top business books written by a woman. It was a W.H. Smith top 10. And again, I think, one of the things that kept me going and keeps me going forward, at that time, people would be at the airports in the UK or the train stations and they would take me selfies with it on the bookshelf. I thought, right, I've got to keep going because they need me. Everybody needs me to help them. So that's what happened. And then through that journey, I never really intended to write another book. I was quite happy. I ticked the author box and it was all going really, really well. And then, as Kelly knows, I got asked to do my TEDx. And again, predominantly people don't like sales. They don't like sales. They find it sleazy. They find it. So if I was to do a TEDx and have a title around sales, most people wouldn't have turned up or watched the TEDx. So I had to come up with a title that was going to be quite catchy that people would engage with. So I had no idea what I was doing, literally. And I'd only been asked about a week before to do this TEDx. I had 2 weeks to prepare. And I came up with this title, The Art of Getting What You Want. And again, that theme, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it straight to camera, the art of getting what you want. Because I think that's why we're here today, isn't it? We're here because we want to achieve something in our life. And again, for me, I'm 54 this month. I didn't start the business to 46. I know I've not got forever. And that's why another reason, that's why I get up every single day and I bring it my best day, because I never know when my last day is going to be. So I've got to keep going because that's what people need from me, that purpose, that strength, that motivation, that inspiration. I've got to take that for the team. So during lockdown, and again, I think this is also in keeping with the theme for the conference, during lockdown, we had choice, didn't we? And I think every day we have choice. We have the choice to talk about things and take no action, or we have the choice to take action, and no one can give you that choice. That choice belongs to yourself. So at the time, I've got a team that work for me. Again, I've always needed a team because I know I can't do it on my own. I need people to help me. And I've never been scared to delegate. I've never been scared to recruit. I've never been scared because what's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't work out. Well, what have I learned? So again, I talk about growth mindset, but I embody growth mindset because I have to. You know, there's no point in talking about a topic, talking about things if you're not living and breathing it. And I think people talk about authenticity, and as Bernie said, like what you see with me is what you get. You know, again, I know that Kelly's in the audience. I've known Kelly for nearly, well, I don't know, 8 years. And she sees me on LinkedIn all the time. What you see is what you get, whether you see me in person or you see me online, it's the same person. And I think that's what authenticity means. And I'm not saying that every day I'm climbing mountains or I'm running a marathon. You know, some days my A game means I just get out of my pajamas. And, you know, that's a good day. But again, knowing that that's the best that I can do that day is also a strength, and it's also a choice to know that actually today I don't have to climb a mountain. I just have to get out of my pajamas and not give myself a hard time that my A game was getting out of my pajamas. So again, I think sometimes that's where the comparison kicks in. You know, when you look at somebody who's doing all these great things, it sometimes puts you off because it means you procrastinate because you're worried that actually you're not going to be at the same standard as them. I tell you what, I need to do something to fix this camera. I'm like, yes. So going back to Smash It, the art of getting what you want. During lockdown, I decided not to furlough the team. So I decided to there was no revenue coming in. Again, like Bernie said, all the speaking had stopped, everything had stopped. And I decided that what I would do was I would keep the team going. I would run like £10 ticketed events on LinkedIn. And then I would also bring Kaya back to help me write this book. So we'd always had the title, The Art of Getting What You Want. But the publisher said, look, you need a name before this. It can't just be The Art of Getting What You Want. That won't work on Amazon. That won't work. So that's when we came up with Smash It, The Art of Getting What You Want. And for me, that just epitomizes, you know, one of the things of how I live my life. I get up every day. And again, today, I've made a choice. I am going to smash it. And again, whatever that smash it feels like and is on that day, that is all I can do. So let me give you some top tips from the book, Smash It, The Art of Getting What You Want, which is also available on Amazon, Audible, Spotify, but anybody that does want more top tips on how to smash it. But one of the things, and again, based on the TEDx, there's two things that stop you from getting what you want, right? And I think this is what we tried to make quite clear. And one is yourself, and the other thing is other people, right? And I know that sounds like common sense, doesn't it? But when we don't know when we haven't set our goals, we know that 8% of people don't hit their goals because a high percentage of them haven't actually set a goal. So what we did was we looked at what the goals were. So for me, things like if we look at the goal board for 2020, the year that never happened, one of the things was I wanted to go from couch to 5K. I wanted to go on holiday to Croatia. I wanted to do 5 international speaking gigs face to face. And I wanted to I wanted to go for dinner at the Ritz, I think it was. So again, you know, what are your goals? And what we do is I would recommend splitting them into 3 banks. I call them the banks. So you've got the bank of cash. So this is your work goals, anything that leads to money, right? Then you've got the bank of give back and the bank of faffing around, right? Because faffing around gives me energy to make the banks work. So again, when people set their goals, they're not necessarily breaking them into different sections. And to me, if you deposit equally in the bank of cash, the bank of give back, and the bank of faffing around, to me, that leads to the ultimate happiness. That's what smash it means to me. If you spend too much time depositing in the bank of cash and work, we know that relationships fall apart, don't we? And we know that people get stressed, they get burnt out, And again, to me, it's just looking at the deposits. So when you set those goals, you've got to not just look at the goals, but where you deposit what your goal is. And then I'm sure this will be a huge theme. Why? Like, why do you want that goal? You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I want my business to get to $1 million. Why? Oh, just because that's a goal. You know, you're never going to get that. And for me, one of the things during lockdown was I decided to get fit. So at 50 years old, I decided I was going to get fit. And why was that? Because I'd gone to the doctor, I was struggling to walk, no idea what was wrong. And it turns out I've got this thing called arthritis, right? They said, hold out your hands. And I'm not here about my hands. I'm here because I can't walk. And I said, oh, that's great. You've diagnosed me. Which medicine do I take for arthritis? Because I knew nothing about it. And they said, no, you don't. You've got to change your lifestyle. Change. Choice. Again, there's a theme here for smash it, because if you look at yourself internally and you don't think you are smashing it, you need to make a choice to change. Does anybody know what metathesiophobia is? Can't see everybody. Oh, I'm looking at Sharon. She's like, no, I have no idea. Metathesiophobia is actually the fear of change. So, you know, if you think, oh, I can't change, I'm scared to change, what happens if I do it wrong? What happens? It's actually a phobia, and you can cure a phobia. So again, if that is you and you think, oh, I've tried that, running, couch to 5K, I've not meant to run, I'm not good at running. If you think you can't do it, if you think you're not good at it, there's one thing for sure, you're never going to do it. You have to change your mindset to think, do you know what? I can run, I can smash it, I can do this. And again, that feeds into your goals. But without that passion for why you do it, you're more likely to fall off the path. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. So that's your goals, how to set them. What I would say, if anybody has got access to the Google Store or the App Store, I have got a free app. It's called Smash It, funnily enough, but you have to put in Smash It, Alison Edgar, and you can download places that you can create your vision board and your why and go through it. And it's tangible. And the reason that I obviously invested quite a lot of money in the app, and it's free to the users. But the reason I did that was I felt it would help more people actually smash it and hit their goals. And that's where, again, when you come from the bank and you come from the place that really is authentic, it's not about making money, it's about making a big difference. And that feeds in exactly to what Bernie started the conference with. So then we look at that's your goal. So let's look at things like weight loss, exercise, starting a business, anything that's an internal factor is a me thing, right? That is a me thing. So when you set your goals, it's all about the things that you can do internally to smash it and get what you want. Then the other part is the we thing. And again, I am Scottish. I know that Julia's Scottish as well, so she'll know what I mean when I say the we thing. We use that word for small, but I don't mean it in this context. I mean actually you and someone else are involved in smashing it, right? So say it's a promotion at work, say it's getting one of your team members to do something for you, say it's even getting your kids to do the dishes. You can't get that done without influencing somebody else. And that's where, when Bernie did the introduction, I talked about the DISC methodology. So I'm a DISC practitioner. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's around the psychology of how we adapt to build relationships with other people. And there's other tools, there's things like DISC, Myers-Briggs, or Belbin. But the reason that I chose DISC is based on colour. So we talk about the reds, the greens, the blues, and the yellows. And it just makes it easier to work out the behaviours of someone else and how to build that relationship with them. And we did do that in the TEDx, didn't we, Kelly? I remember that. I was a nervous wreck that day, literally one of the most nerve-wracking days I've ever had. But in saying that, I think that's an important thing to say, because it did tick my box to say, I wasn't going to do it. So at the time, Joseph Murphy had said to me, there's 2 weeks out, Alison, would you like to attend or would you like to speak? And again, the procrastination, the fear inside of me was saying, I can't do that. I haven't got enough time to prepare. Oh, what happens if I do it wrong? What happens if I forget my lines? What happens if I do this? Maybe I should just wait for another opportunity. Maybe I shouldn't take this one. But I had to have that conversation with myself, because a lot of the time it's convincing yourself to take action. But I did take the action. I was bold. I was brave. Actually, was it the best TED Talk in the world? No, it certainly wasn't. No, it wasn't. But what I learned from it has gone on to create a book and another book and help more people. So I think, again, it's just important that you take that action. So I will tell you the wee story about the MBE, because I think that it's, you know, a lot of people, for those of you who are not in the UK, you may not know what an MBE is. So let me explain. Every year, the Queen picks 1,000 people twice a year, a birthday list and a New Year list. And it's for people in the UK that have gone above and beyond in the dedication and service to a particular topic. So you can get it for sport. You may know Marcus Rashford, Joe Wicks. They have got an MBE for their dedication to the work that they did for the UK in fitness and health and poverty in the UK economy. But mine is actually for business and entrepreneurship, which makes my heart sing, because that's what I absolutely adore. So I'm sure you'll remember lockdown. I think it was between lockdown 1.0 and 2.0, and we were allowed to meet with people in the garden. And Kaya, who had helped me write the first book, had gone to Portugal and had come back into the UK to help me write the new book. So again, when people were getting furloughed, made redundant, I was changing the curve and I was employing people. So we're in the garden and I'm quite easily distracted. I get quite easily distracted, and I'm checking my email as I'm having the conversation with Kaya, and I just start to cry. I just broke out in floods of tears. And Kaya said, "What's wrong? Is somebody passed away?" And I said, "No." I said, "Are you my press officer?" And she went, "Yes, why do you ask?" And I said, "Because I've got a confidential email and I'm only allowed to tell my press officer. So is that you?" She said, "Yes, I'm definitely the press officer." And I said, "Right, okay." And she said, "What's the email?" I said, "I think the Cabinet Office and the Queen have given me an MBE." And she went, "Oh, that." She goes, "Oh, yeah, I know. The man phoned me 2 weeks ago to confirm your details." And I thought, I can't understand how that happened. How did the Queen know who I was? How did the Cabinet Office know who I was? And she said, "Alison, 3 years ago when I worked for you, I nominated you for your effort and for always bringing your A game." So the message of that story is, sometimes you never really know who's watching. You never know who's listening. And if you can, bring your A game every day, whether that's getting out your pajamas, climbing Mount Snowdon, getting an MBE, helping the lady with the shopping down the road, whatever you can do to bring your A game, someone is always watching. And that is how you smash it. So I know I'm a wee bit early, Bernie. I think I've done about 25 minutes. I can carry on talking.
Yes,
or
no,
we can open it up.
you're fine. If you want to stop, no, it's fine, because I'm sure there are people who have a lot of questions. So you might stop your talk,
Yeah,
but I don't think you're gonna stop talking.
No, I think in a situation like this, though, it's quite nice to get my ear, isn't it, and ask specific questions that help the audience. So I think
Yes.
questions are good. Well, I'll pass back to Patience to MC the questions.
Yeah. I am going to be doing the questions.
Oh, you're doing it, right? Okay,
Yeah,
Bernie.
I'll be emceeing the questions. Now, guys, Okay, I'm allowing you to unmute now yourselves. Before you couldn't unmute yourselves. So you are all able to unmute yourselves. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Alison. As usual, yes, you bring your A game, and it's really definitely about not comparing yourself with anyone else. Is comparing yourself with yourself, meaning some days you're just glad that you can get out of those jammies because you knew that the day before you couldn't. So that's a positive. You know, sometimes it's just the day that you can actually make the bed. I remember when I moved to the United Kingdom and I realized that I have no maids. And so if I was going to have the bed primed up with all those cushions nicely lined up, you know, like you see, yeah, I'd be doing it myself. And I tried to do it for a long time. And then the day I left my house and did make my bed, I thought to myself, well, the sky has not fallen. But, you know, that was one kind of victory. But sometimes the other victory is make the blinking bed. That's an achievement, right? So now I hope I've given you some time by my little story that you can now cope with your questions. Let me see what the chat is saying. Yeah. You can just start speaking. So they're saying bold, brave, take action. I love those words. Very inspirational, Alison. Thank you. Right. Now, I want to ask you, Ali, right? You said, I'll start off with the questions. What do you do when you have not had your best day?
So for me, I think that everybody doesn't have their best days. So I think it's important that you recognize that you're not alone in not having the best days. I also think it's important, for me, I look at my life as a book, and like it's chapters and pages, isn't it? So like it's okay if you've not had the best day yesterday because tomorrow's a new day. So today's a new day. And I'll be really honest with you. Yesterday wasn't a great day for us because we've just launched a new, I've even forgot the name of my company now. What's it called? Sales Coaching Solutions is the original company that I founded. But because I've been doing work with the bigger organizations like Discovery, Sky, EasyJet, we have been doing more in training that's not actually sales training, so leadership training, entrepreneurship training, different types of training. And our website didn't reflect that. So we have rebranded everything to Smash It, training and coaching. So it's all incorporated. It all works with the new book. And we've invested in a scorecard so that senior leaders can take this scorecard. Hopefully they would find some flaws in the scorecard and then they would need training from our company to help them to be better leaders, right? So that's what we've been doing. And Rebecca has been doing the website, the scorecard, and I'm telling you what, it's not me that's done it, it's the team. And I think it is excellent. I mean, the effort that has gone in is excellent. But we put it out on LinkedIn and I think maybe only 10 or 12 people completed the scorecard. Some of the people were in our sort of fan club that they engaged with all our content anyway. But we didn't get any leads. So we put all this time in, all this effort in, and it's so flipping frustrating. And I'm in my head, I'm not a fan of marketing, right? I can never really get our marketing to work particularly well. We don't really get any inbound inquiries. Every inquiry I get is outbound or for me having conversations on LinkedIn. And I tell you what, so like during that, even yesterday, so this is like the thing, guys, it happens to us all and it happens to us all the time. You know, you're not alone in having that bad day. Anyway, again, I think you just keep going, you stay positive. And then last night, I'm not a big fan in manifestation and abundance, right? I believe that I create the hard work and eventually it'll happen. So I know that there'll be a lot of people will say, yeah, but that's because you are manifesting. You are, because you're putting yourself out there, you're manifesting. So one of my big goals, and I talked about it, you know, when I was talking about the vision board, was I want to do 5 international talks at big events. And I've done one, I'm just back from Poland. But it's so slow. Like I don't have any patience. I want everything yesterday, not tomorrow. And I think that's a lesson that I'm continually learning is be patient. Anyway, about 10 to 5, we get this inbound inquiry it's a speaker bureau, and that's the plan. I really want to get majority of the speaking work through the speaker bureaus because there's loads of work. 90% of the work through bureaus goes to 10% of speakers, right? So 90-10. I want to be in the 10%. That's my goal, right? I want to smash it and be in that 10%. Anyway, 10 to 5, email comes in, client loves you, wants to book you on the 17th of November, next week. So I think it's about hope, staying hopeful. But even if that email hadn't come in, Bernie, I shut the door on every day. I don't carry the negatives forward. Every single day, I'm like a Labrador puppy, ready to start the day without carrying any baggage from the day before. So I think for me, I talk about this a lot, and I've been in your events. Yeah. How do you do that? Because that's, for some people, that's easier said than done, isn't it? So to me, I think music is a great motivator. Like, you find your song, your go-to song. For me, I do love Take That. Today, this could be the greatest day of our life. And if you wake up and you think that, you're more likely to have that day, because again, you're changing the thoughts in their head to the feelings to the behaviors, the thoughts to the feelings to the behaviors. If you think it's going to be a crappy day, then you'll be like, oh, today's not a great day. I'm not going to make that effort. I'm not going to make those phone calls. I'm not going to do those things. And then you'll think, oh, you know what, that was a waste of a day. And then you go back in that negative circle, isn't it? And it comes from your head. It does all come from mindset. So that's what I do. And I'm honest, Bernie, like, yesterday was a pretty naff day for us. And I get frustrated, and I'm like that, and I'm trying to keep the team upbeat. And then, of course, boom, 5 to 5, it just slips in the door. Boom!
Awesome. Ali, that's just incredible, because I always say you've got to be authentic. You've got to be honest, first of all, with yourself. So when you are able to just be honest, this is it's been a crap day. And, I love what you say about the, not taking the baggage from the day before into the new day. That is just crucial. But you know what else? Not taking the stuff from tomorrow and bringing it into your today. It's one day at a time. I've had to learn that. When you get up, I always say the first 5 minutes in the morning when you wake up are the most important 5 minutes of your day, because you adjust yourself and your mind, you start thinking, and then you start to think, oh my goodness, this person, I have this deadline, like you, next week, 17th coming up. You start to think, oh, I have that thing, I need to meet that deadline. I have this thing on Friday. And then, listen, we only have the capacity for today. Don't think about what happened yesterday and whatever terrible thing was said, what mistake you made, and so on. If you didn't get that email last night, you woke up this morning, what's the point of thinking about the rubbish day it was yesterday? We've got to manage our minds. The mindset is crucial.
And I don't, literally, sometimes I feel a wee bit like I'm a goldfish. Have I been here before? No, it's a new day. Let's start again. Oh, round the bowl. Have I been here before? No, I've not been here. It's a new day. So I just feel like I've forgotten. Maybe I just don't have the mental capacity, Bernie, to carry it forward, because I'm so busy moving forward on today's journey around the goldfish bowl.
Exactly. Let me see what the chat is saying. Let me see what Kelly. Yes, Kelly, you want to just jump in and say what you said in the chat? Unmute yourself.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Okay, I'm here. Yeah, no, I was just saying, I love the fact that you said about like not carrying your baggage forward, because it's so easy to sort of think of all the crap that happened yesterday or something really like bad. And then it like festers into the next day and the next day. And then it literally like stops all your like productivity, and where you've got to go. But I mean, I'm literally got the worst mind. I do wake up in the mornings and I feel like I've got a million things sort of charging through it. And I do need to start sort of slowing myself down and putting myself into what that day is bringing, not what I've got to do next week or even just the next day. But yeah, I did love that, because I am the world's worst of thinking of what happened and how bad it was, and then it affects you, and then you're thinking, no, slap yourself out of that and get on with it. So
I'd add in a wee bit as well on that, Kelly, that because I know that you've read the book, so I would say a lot of that is definitely compartmentalizing. So for me, I'm highly organized, right? And I think that's what helps me to not bring the baggage. So like in for me and the business, we've got an empty inbox policy, right? So when I shut the door and the team finish the door, we get the balloons every day. I don't know if anybody's ever had an empty inbox and they get the balloons. Hey, we've got the balloons. We've got the balloons. So you're finishing your day on a high as well. And it doesn't mean that actually all the tasks are done, but we don't run a linear to-do list. So I don't have a to-do list that's in a line. I talk about basketballs, tennis balls, and ping pong balls. So again, say for example, because you've got young kids as well, Kelly, haven't you? Yeah. So again, I think that's another layer, isn't it, into life. I mean, for me, the reason I didn't start my business till I was 46 was I didn't know if I had the capacity to run the business and run the kids and look after my disabled parents and, you know, be a wife and a sister. But I think if you look at what's the basketballs for that day, so let's say it's paying for the school trip, right? Because we know that starts off, and it starts off as a ping pong ball, right? I need to fill that form in, that consent form. I need to buy the fancy jet, the Harry Potter costume. That's a ping pong ball. And then the week before it's like a tennis ball, and then 2 days before it's a basketball. And I think what happens is a lot of people don't organize their time in the right order. We use Trello, so we'll use the Trello board and take every single task: basketball, tennis ball, ping pong ball, and then it's done. So you still get that satisfaction. But I think a lot of people get overwhelmed when they've got a lot of basketballs. There's a lot going on. Oh, I haven't done that. I forgot to do this. Oh, I should have done that. Should have done that. I think a lot of overwhelm comes from, I'm not saying it's you, Kelly, but a lot is that overwhelm of not being that highly organized. And that makes it harder to shut the door on that day because you're looking back. Have I done that? Have I got this to do? Whereas actually, if you do things in the right order, it reduces overwhelm and it makes it easier.
Fantastic. And for those of you who don't know, Kelly definitely can talk about carrying baggage and having a lot to do, because she's a co-founder of a multi-award winning company, Solar Buddies. You know, they're doing sort of just moms at schools as well, like you, Ali, when you did it. I have a question here for Kiara. How do you find balance between giving away and asking for yourself? So, you know, those of us who like to give, how do you find a balance between giving away and also asking for yourself? Ask Kiara.
So again, I think it comes back to the banks of balance. So if you look at, like, so for example, for this, and again, honestly, I believe it comes back to time, how you look at your time and your time on the planet. For me, again, I know that I'm on the way out, I'm not on the way in. So everything has to go into that bank. So if you look at today, so this feeds my bank of give back, because I'm hoping that by the end of this session, you know, some of you will go out going, yeah, I can do this, I can smash it, I've really got this. It also feeds my bank of faffing around, because I just love doing this stuff. Like, I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm speaking at a conference. Woo! And then ultimately, you know, if this was a paid conference, then it feeds the bank of cash. I'm obviously giving my time as give back, but you can see why those three things really feeds what I really want to do as a speaker.
Yeah,
because it feeds every single bank that I do. And I think that's where, when you look at what you want to do with your time, and for me, you know, to get into that, I want to be in the 10% that get 90% of the work. My goal's really clear. My time frame on it, again, I've been working to build my career to this space for years. So this is my year, 2022 is when I want to achieve that goal. That's what's on my vision board. But I had to write the books first of all. I had to, you know, get my profile out there first of all. I had to get the MBE, but the MBE really does help to differentiate me from other people. But again, I wouldn't have got the MBE if I hadn't have been giving and giving and giving and giving. But I'm Scottish, Kiara, right? So my granny used to say, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yes.
So I'm never shy at asking, you know, never shy at asking for favors, never shy of asking for the order when I'm in sales, because what's the worst that's going to happen? Somebody says no. you know, like that doesn't faze me. I can take rejection because I've got a growth mindset. So I never ever fear being rejected
Awesome.
or
Fantastic. And thank you so much, Ali. And in keeping with the spirit of the moment,